Legacy media is falling apart, and as it crumbles, a void is opening, a void that we intend to fill. The big legacy news networks currently average just 1.2 million viewers a weeknight, and those numbers are only going to get lower. Legacy media is dying, and the younger generation has moved on. Legacy media panders. Legacy media lies. Legacy media does not know what the truth is, and they don't care about it. Legacy media is a dumpster fire. This is why we few in our wild imaginations have started the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Our goal is to take down the legacy media giant of the last 50 years with our 5 stones. We started in 2016 with our flagship show, POLITICO. Since those small beginnings, we now air on DirecTV. Our broader podcast network now gets over 4 million downloads a year. And our Fight Laugh Feast pub, which includes TV shows like This America, The Rowdy Christian's Guide, Pastors in Politics, and As the Lord Pleases, with your support, many more to come. Our goal is to become the flagship new media 2.0 network over the next 50 years and take over nightly news, sports, sitcoms, hunting shows, and more, all conveniently stored for you in our Fight Laugh Feast pub. We're already reaching the next generation through our podcast shows on YouTube, X, and our pub, while also tapping into legacy media audiences by airing our shows on TV through DirecTV and Xfinity. We have made a lot of progress with some duct tape and a good bit of intuition and a lot of sweat. And now we need your support more than ever. The TV networks have had such a negative impact on our households, and we're trying, by the grace of God, to put a stop to that. We have the opportunity. We just need the army. Now more than ever, we need you to join our pub to help us reach our goal of 1 million pub supporters in the next 5 years. There's no way around it. Competing with Fox and the Alphabet networks without money is virtually impossible. It's cheap for you to join. And when you do, you're combining your small monthly support with a growing army of like-minded Christians. We have thousands, we need millions. So if you want more of the Alphabet network's misinformation and lies, don't join. But if you want to give us a mere 5 stones, then please join the pub, and together we will take a swing at the head of big media, all the while fighting, laughing, and feasting to the glory of God.
We need to talk. It's been a rough ride, from a culture bent on burning itself down to attacks from within. But by the grace of God, we've been given a moment, a chance to make lasting changes. We can rebuild what's been torn down, but we have to build with what will last, the gospel of the kingdom. This April, let's sit down. Let's talk about what matters. And together, we'll build something that lasts. ReformCon 2025. Tickets are limited. Lord willing, we'll see you in Tucson.
Hi, my name's Justin Johnson.
And I'm Josiah Stowe.
And we are Dominion Wealth Strategists. We are created to put money in the hands of those that are sitting in the pews.
From budgeting to estate planning, savings accounts, retirement planning, life insurance, and a heck of a lot more here at Dominion.
That means that you are leaving an inheritance that passes multiple generations, because that is the legacy. It's part of our mission.
All of Christ for all of life.
And all of finance for Christendom.
In this parable, the Lord Jesus is teaching us not to despise the day of small beginnings.
Small is how we started, but not how we thought. The goal of influencing countless generations was the vision, and we began doing this without $1 million budget, a multi-million-dollar campus, a large student body, or even a lot of support. And yet, our small packed a punch, because it was loaded with conviction, a serrated edge, and a Protestant unwillingness to conform to the status quo. The goal has never been to survive or be comfortable. It has always been to joyfully and courageously fulfill our mission to establish leaders who are a righteous nuisance to the ensuing chaos. Leaders who are armed with tools to build cultures of excellence. The future is ours to win under the lordship of Christ, in order for his sovereign knowledge to cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. We aren't ashamed of our humble beginning. We embrace it, knowing that upon that great foundation, the future is full of light. New St. Andrews College. Build, fight, win.
There's a growing movement in the American workplace, one that's not dominated by a political party or ideology, but by real Americans who oppose the divisive rules and cancel culture mandates that have invaded many of the nation's largest companies. This is a movement of hometown America, people who want to build their careers, raise their families, and live their faith in the spirit and legacy of the American dream. At Red Balloon, we're connecting no-nonsense employers with hardworking employees, people who are passionate about bringing accomplishment and success to their workplace. If you're an employer looking for serious talent, you need to post your job on Red Balloon. And if you're an employee who's tired of a cancel culture workplace, then come to Red Balloon and find your future. Because you should be free to grow your career, and you shouldn't have to choose between your job and your values.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
By my political beliefs, I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.org.
America is a country that was founded for the purpose of allowing Christians to do their duty before God, not to have their consciences ruled by the doctrines and commandments of men. Reese Fund exists in order to see the 10 Commandments properly applied, not just as a plaque on the wall, but to actually be used in business as though they're commandments from God that we're supposed to obey. Our goal is to find businesses and to buy them and to build them up. We want to find manufacturing businesses and use them to make sure that we can maintain our capacity to do things here. Reese Fund, Christian capital, boldly deployed.
I don't really like working.
I only work remotely.
I'm gonna need 8 weeks of paid vacation, maybe 12.
I take a lot of breaks. I feel more mentally healthy.
I'm gonna need a priority parking space.
Do you have non-dairy options in your coffee bar? Do you have soy? Do you have a decaf, half-calf kind of thing? Interviews are so boring.
How's your game?
Do I need to call my dad? You work for him, you know.
You guys are so intense. Like, do you always work this hard?
You don't run a daycare, you run a business. That's why you need redballoon.org.
I think you need me more than I need you.
Hey, y'all, welcome to Cross Politic on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Pastor Toby, Chuck Knox, I'm the Water Boy. We're all back in the studio again. If you
I think you need me more than I need you.
I think Gabe owes us all an apology.
For what, not being here yesterday?
No. You lied to us, Gabe.
What?
I'm still not over it.
I did not lie.
No, you told us.
It was a joke.
It wasn't a joke. I didn't think it was a joke. I didn't laugh. I thought it was real. Did you see my face?
I thought it was funny. I thought it was a good joke.
You thought it was real too.
Yeah, but I thought it was a great joke.
What did I say?
William Wolf tweeted out that the
Amazon
Lord of the
Prime.
Rings funding was pulled because of USAID being canceled.
Yes.
And you told us while we were talking to Troy Miller, and like it was real, Gabe.
I was just saying.
Was it a joke or was it real?
You know what's funny is Amazon lawyers called William Wolf.
I'm sure.
I would have.
Yeah,
but
I would have.
He got a call from Amazon lawyers.
But my point is,
it was believable.
But was it a joke?
Yeah.
But was it a joke? And I want to know how much money they're actually getting. You know, Hollywood is raking it in to do DEI stuff.
I'm just saying, don't tempt me with just like hope.
With thing that sounds so true.
I want it. I want to rescue the Lord of the Rings from Amazon, and that would have been a rescue. But that sounds like we still might have another season, And so it seems like it was real, Gabe, and it was a lie. And you gave me false hope. Y'all laughing. I'm serious up in this joint.
Well, it was funny because y'all just went on. You just kept going. I was like, well,
no,
I'm just going to.
Was it a joke?
Yes.
You were joking? You got to learn to tell better jokes.
Well, we went on so fast from it, though.
We were, yeah, we did take it pretty seriously, though. We did take it pretty seriously.
And I was like, well,
there's, I'm sure.
Even Troy was
we'll
like,
submit a retraction later.
I went home and told my family.
Troy was like, yes, I retweeted that. It's like, okay, so there, see, everybody thought it was
my thinking is what I said. Like, I'm like, but it's real. Good satire could be real.
Yeah, you know what? Babylon B knows that.
Yeah, it's glorious.
They're not a satire site anymore. They're just a prophet.
Man.
Yes. Patriot Mobile is now offering the Up phone, or is it the UP phone? I'm going to call it the Up phone. I'm hoping that's right. Up phone. A cutting edge.
It's a USAID phone.
No, it's not.
No, it's Patriot Mobile.
That is a joke.
Right. That's right.
That was a joke, people.
It wasn't even good satire.
No.
A cutting edge addition to their product lineup. The Up phone is a privacy-first, secure smartphone designed by cybersecurity professionals for everyday use. It's powered by Libert OS. I don't know if that's. Thank you. An exclusive operating system built on the Android open source project. This provides a familiar user experience similar to Android phones. I don't know about that, but sets itself apart by being free from Google mobile services. GMS. And the surveillance that comes with it. This revolutionary device is perfect for customers seeking a system that avoids big tech components that track, monitor, and monetize their data. The Up phone offers robust protection from spying and intrusion while maintaining the intuitive user experience that users expect.
I like it.
Head to patriotmobile.com/crosspolitic and use the code. It says use the cod. Use the cod crosspolitic. I think it means code. Crosspolitic to get started.
Does it have to be Android?
I don't know.
Can we get something else? Can we talk to Apple? Can Apple call Patriot Mobile?
Can we get Apple to become Christian?
Yes, we can. It's possible.
In Genesis chapter 2, verse 10 through 12, God tells of the gold in the land of Havilah, and that the gold of that land is good. Hallelujah. Ever since the dawn of our Father's world, gold has been universally recognized as true money and therefore the most reliable store of savings. CrossPolitic's corporate partner, Alps Precious Metals, enables their clients to protect their God-given hard-earned wealth from the serious financial problems that are upon us. Speaking of USAID, Alps provides the CrossPolitic family with the best strategies and solutions for investing in physical precious metals. As a result, you can enjoy a peace of mind that can be had with few other investments. So call James Hunter of Alps at 251-377-2197. That's James Hunter at 251-377-2197. Visit their website at www.alpspmg.com. That's Alps, ALPS, PMG.com.
So we're actually, I'm working on a show.
Hallelujah. Goods. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I'll let that finish. I'm actually working on a show right now with Jim from Alps Precious Metal.
Yeah.
Our Bitcoin guy, Jordan.
Yeah.
And then our Dominion Money guys, and have kind of a show on finances and kind of how to think about 2025 and the various options and investment opportunities and everything.
You know, those Bitcoin guys are no joke.
Man.
That's a group you don't want to ever say anything bad about because they defend their territory.
They're kind of like abolitionists a little bit.
No, abolitionists ain't got nothing on them. If abolitionists act like the Bitcoin guys, abortion would be illegal in America. I'm gonna just say it right now. They gonna come for me. Don't come for me, you Bitcoin guys.
You like them?
I do.
You like them a lot?
I do.
Yeah.
I do actually do like them.
Yeah.
I do like them. I think they're running a good play, but you know.
So I'm just gonna start here. Okay, Trump.
You just start there.
Finally signed an executive order.
Finally, he's been signing executive orders like all over the place.
We're gonna be saying something when he stops signing executive orders.
Let me just go back a little bit in history.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Excuse me. Men in sports. Men have been intruding into sports.
No, into female sports.
Into female sports.
They're allowed to play sports.
Yeah, they're allowed to.
Just men's sports.
Yeah,
other men.
Just not tennis.
Yeah. And ballet.
What?
Let's just stop doing ballet.
Me and Toby agree on tennis and ballet.
Yeah.
Do we? Okay.
I mean,
guys can do ballet.
Tennis is cool.
I said
men can do tennis.
Guys can't do ballet.
No ballet.
They just can't be gay ballet. There's masculinity in dancing.
Yeah, but
Look,
ballet
if a dude has to put leotards on, it's already
No,
gay.
I didn't say he had to wear leotards.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying ballet. It doesn't have to be gay. What happens is that we don't have real men doing.
I think what you're talking about is jujitsu.
I
Well,
think,
we can
I think
add
what
that to
he's
ballet.
talking about is Timothy Keller's communion.
No, that was gay.
Service.
No, that was gay.
I'm just saying. I'm just waiting to see. Like,
And that insulted man, the Lord, and ballet.
And me.
What was the first man to play in a woman's sport, and how long ago? You know that?
I don't know. Ask ChatGPT.
All right, we have producers. Banks, get on it.
Get on it. What was the first man to play in women's sports?
The
and
truth.
what year did
Can't
when it
handle
start?
the truth.
Yeah. Did it happen under Biden's administration,
I don't know.
or was it Trump's?
Feels like it was earlier.
I think the swimmer was the one that I remember making the biggest splash.
Because man, you know,
Just saying.
But well, anyways, and then Riley Gaines came out and she had her fight and battle. This last year, our Boise volleyball team from Boise State wouldn't play San Jose State.
Yeah, they did a couple times. They did a couple times. They just forfeited,
and they lost the playoffs because of it.
Right.
And a number of schools in this Boise Mountain West league didn't play. What was the answer to that?
The first biological man to play women's sports was Renee Richards in 1976.
1976. In tennis. That'd be.
I think I remember that because remember the old tennis girl. She was a legend in the 70s. Had to fight that and fought that.
Oh, that's
issue.
right.
You remember that?
Yeah, that's right. Renee Richards. Is that what you said?
How about?
All right, Renee Richards.
Oh, it's a Richard. So it's a dude.
It's a dude,
and he wants to play against girls in tennis.
That was the 70s. Okay, what about more recently?
He reached a ranking of 20 in the world. The dude who wants to play girls.
So that's the 70s.
Tennis is kind
was
of.
Was there any example in the 80s or 90s or what? Like, when was this kind of? It seems like it picked up in the late 2015 or something like that. 14, whatever. You have Obama's administration and then Trump's administration.
What's the dude? The dude who thinks he's a girl now and he thinks he's also conservative. He's on Fox. Olympic dude.
Bruce Jenner.
Yeah, I mean. He's at least flirting. I don't know if he ever did any.
Well, he's against women in sports.
Yes.
Men playing in women's sports. And so he's against,
Don't ask for logic in this. It'll hurt your head.
I mean,
Pastor.
Sean Hannity interviewed him and then he, whatever.
Yeah.
So now, finally, Trump signed an executive order to end women in sports because he oversees Department of Education. Department of Education has Title IX, and Title IX funding was the what would you call it? Civil rights legislation for sports, basically.
Okay.
And the Title IX said you had to have, equal opportunity for men and women in sports.
Yeah.
So if you had a basketball program, then for guys, you had to have a basketball program for women. Basically like that. You basically had to kind of equal amount of sports.
Just for the record, is stupid.
It's dumb. Yeah.
The federal government should not be telling schools what kind of sports programs to have.
So it's not like a law, but it is affecting federal agencies and the funding that goes to schools.
Right.
So all he does is control the funding, not the school. But let's play this executive order. There's a couple things going on. I want to come out here, and then I want to get into a related example. Go.
All right, pause.
We got no audio.
Pause. While you're working on the audio, but the thing that I was want to point out is it's a bummer that you didn't catch the beginning of this clip. So at the beginning of this clip, he actually invites all the girls to come near him and says, "Look, I'm not worried about it. The Secret Service is a little bit worried." But he's like, if I'm not worried about it. And if I need to be worried about these girls, we got bigger problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did see that part.
It's actually
was that not in this?
No, it's a beautiful part of the
clip. It happened right before that. Go back to the clip. Why are we here?
Okay, Trump.
I want to make this a really good signature because this is a big one, right?
The camera never zoomed in on Biden's signature.
Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
It's amazing.
Right.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over.
I wish it was.
Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. With my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding. So when the Olympics comes to Los Angeles in 2028, my administration will not stand by and watch men beat and batter female athletes, and we're just not going to let it happen, and it's going to end, and it's ending right now, and nobody's going to be able to do a damn thing about it because when I speak, we speak with authority.
So there's just so much here. First of all, for our nation to get to this point where we got to do this kind of stuff.
Utter insanity.
It's utter insanity.
Yeah, that we have to do this.
And for the White House to have to do this and all that. But also for a bunch of dudes, presidents of all these colleges, to stand by and watch the women get beat up in sports and high schoolers.
Right.
High schoolers.
Right.
You remember their stories of girls getting concussions because the volleyball was hit so hard by the man on the other side of the net.
Right.
There's stories of this video went viral of this girl playing basketball and the guy just clocking her and laying her out and basically ending her high school basketball career.
Wow.
I mean, it's how many men stood by and just bent over. The NCAA president finally came out. Bring this slide up. Came out after the executive order was written, and go ahead, Toby. Read this if you can.
The NCAA is an organization made up of 1,100 colleges and universities in all 50 states that collectively enroll more than 530,000 student athletes. We strongly believe that clear, consistent, and uniform eligibility standards would best serve today's student athletes instead of a patchwork of conflicting state laws and court decisions. To that end, President Trump's order provides a clear national standard. The NCAA Board of Governors is reviewing the executive order and will take necessary steps to align NCAA policy in the coming days, subject to further guidance from the administration. The association will continue to help foster welcoming environments on campuses for all student athletes. We stand ready to assist schools as they look for ways to support any student athletes affected by changes in the policy. So we're planning to comply.
Yeah, he had clear guidance before this. I mean, Title IX clearly says, men and men's sports, women and women's sports.
Right. But you know that part of the problem with this though is under the Biden administration, Title IX was being weaponized.
Yeah.
So all those schools, they had the opposite threat.
Yeah.
The threat that Trump just made.
Right.
That if you let men into women's sports, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
Well, the Biden administration or whoever was running the Biden administration,
if you don't let men in women's sports,
said if you do not let these trannies clock the women,
that's right,
and harm them and hurt them, then you're going to lose your funding.
That's right. Yeah, that's what that means.
So
sure.
I got a question.
I got a question too when you're done.
Thinking about this and watching this take place, Gabe, you talked about all the parents you really talked about the school presidents and the leadership there in colleges and even high schools. Male coaches. But I even want to take it one step back and say the fathers and the parents that allowed their children to be.
Stand up in all this? Where's Riley's dad?
Right. She talked about her dad being upset at points, but are we losing some of our authority or are we abdicating some of our authority by putting it all inside of the hands of the president? Like there was no groundswell really to stop this where it's like, guess what? We're not going to. So when black people couldn't play in sports, they started their own leagues. Their own leagues became so popular that they had to figure out something to do to be able to make them a part of the leagues.
That the NBA came in. Hey, let's play partnership.
And then therefore,
same thing with baseball, Negro leagues.
The same thing. It forced everybody else to say, if you want to see elite athletes play, then guess what? You're going to have to come over here, or you're going to have to change the rules.
Right.
So which one is it going to be? And it doesn't seem like that. And I don't. And there's a part of me is arguing with myself because I don't want to give up the institutions. I want those too, but at the same time, I also want to say that we have the authority to be able to make these changes without having to go straight to the federal government to make these changes, because this particular change, as happy as I am for it, I hate that what's going on in my head right now, but I am happy for this because there's some relief here. But it's 4 years? Now, the Democratic Party doesn't look like they're ever going to get elected for office ever again the way they've been acting.
Right.
And if they do get elected again, we should be shame on ourselves for allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
But this is a short-lived victory if Congress doesn't come in here and make a change.
Well, it's a short-lived victory if the American people
exactly. Well,
don't
yes.
make a change.
Well, yes, because I don't even want
to your point. I'm a little bit. I think I feel similar. Like I'm a little bit at odds with myself in that I think in some ways this does represent the groundswell. I think the groundswell actually happened so quickly. I mean, you've got Matt Walsh's tranny stuff.
Yes.
I mean the what is a woman
That's
doc.
good.
Then I think Trump just coming out swinging the destruction of DEI policies, and I think a lot of people were like, we are sick and tired of this. Now this needs to be instituted in the schools, and if for some wild crazy reason the next Democratic president gets elected in 4 years, or 8 or 12 or whatever, they ought to be thinking to themselves, you cannot touch this. Like, so we need to be building the infrastructure out that they know, like, you touch that, you're dead.
Well, and I guess I like it because it could be that it works the other way around too. This happens, and then the groundswell comes up underneath it, where
I kind of lean that way right now. But at the same time, I think it's not. It's go ahead.
How do we on a local level allow it to happen?
How did we let it happen?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think dads have spoken up at all.
I believe that.
We can name all the women all the players who spoke up.
You got the same.
Can you name the churches, the pastors who are like, no?
Notice what this law apparently didn't do. This executive order. I don't know that it banned women for men's sports.
I don't know. Yeah.
It would have to work both ways, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Does anybody know? Can you look that up?
Yeah.
We have producers for that.
Does it? I don't. Nobody's talking about whether this bans women from men's sports.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that would be one place though where it's like this, like a similar kind of thing is happening. Now, it's
definitely setting a tone.
It is asymmetrical because a man that invades a woman's space, women are to be protected. Now, there's some glorious things about the asymmetry of this.
Yeah,
and
they're recognizing that they're the weaker vessel.
Right,
That's
exactly.
one of the things.
But when a girl signs up for wrestling,
so it doesn't.
It doesn't specify. But a woman who signs up to wrestle men.
Yeah.
I mean,
is she allowed to?
We're
in 8th grade, 7th grade.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
But
we in our city, our before their junior high, it was 6th grade football guys had to back out of a football league because there's women.
We did that too.
So we started our league.
DJ was playing football.
Young ladies were on the other team, and we said, well, we can't do. We'll kind of work. We'll play, but we're not going to tackle those girls.
Yeah, right.
And our guys in lacrosse and in football have we have plans in place on our teams where we're like, look, if we notice a girl on the other opposing team, we are not going to play her like you play a man.
Yeah,
right.
Because we're going to still honor the fact that she's a woman, even though she's not honoring her
own self.
Yeah. And her team wants us to mistreat her.
I guess one way to think about this, if we like what this is doing and we want to see more of it, we're going to have to be the ones that take the initiative to say, at where we have the authority, no. Otherwise, this is going to be a short-lived victory if we don't rise up and take this authority as fathers, as parents, as people in the community. Say, no, you can't do that, and throw fits over it. You know, I was thinking about this. This is really convoluted, but when you had African Americans getting into the league, you had a bunch of white players who were racist and just refused to play.
Right.
Like, we're not playing with them. Not the end.
Yeah.
You know, now for whatever it was, at least they had their own consistency.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have that. Whatever that was, it was broken.
Whatever that racist consistency was, we don't have.
Well, they had at least convictions that they stuck to. Like, but we don't seem to have those convictions on a very local level.
Well, and just think, like, Trump signs his executive order, and now the NCAA president comes out and says, okay, now we have clear standards.
Right.
No, dude, he's probably been president for 10 years or whatever. And now you're saying we shouldn't have women in men's sports?
And they had a gun to their head. They had a gun to their head.
Yeah, I understand they had a gun to their head. I mean, how many people had a gun to their head in COVID and shouldn't have done what they did?
Right.
Well,
especially with men and women's sports, when they know they're getting.
But this goes back to lack of conviction. This goes back to lack of conviction. You're talking about sort of this perverse conviction of racists.
Yes, absolutely.
But they had conviction. It's perverse conviction, immoral conviction. But we are a people who have no conviction. We have no conviction. We go. I mean, and then the question is God granting us conviction?
Yes.
Is God granting us true conviction and true backbone, or are we just going with the way the wind is blowing?
And to your point, let me add this layer. Here. To your point, what did Trump just do today? Did you follow the news at all on this?
No,
man, I can't keep up, fam.
Trump today is creating a religious office in the White House.
Oh no.
for, to combat anti-Christian bias. And who did he appoint over that office?
Oh no.
Pastor Pasa Paula White.
Oh yeah, we call those pastrix.
Pastrix, Latinx pastrix. So here, Trump is signing executive order to protect women in sports, and then he's taking a woman and putting her in a man's space.
To my point. Where's
our convictions?
It's yeah. So we just did a tranny. We just created a new tranny office.
Yeah.
Where a woman is going to dress up like a man and pretend to be a man.
Yeah.
America, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah. So we're still confused.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, I'm encouraged by this because I'm hoping what's happening.
Wait.
Not Paula White. Not Paula White.
By the Office of Religious whatever.
No. I'm encouraged by the fact that what Trump is doing with the guys and girls sports.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it makes us say, okay, there's somebody over there who's showing sign of leadership and boldness.
Right.
Now it's time for me to be bold.
Right.
That's what I want to see.
Right.
But my point is, if we don't take that as a sign for us to stand up and to be bold in these certain moments, and maybe you're the only dad who doesn't let his daughter play, that might just be enough to start something on a local level.
Right.
Then we don't have to. The goal is for us to be free without having to have the federal government peek over our shoulders all the time to say what's going on. Yeah. But when we relinquish that, then now we're always fighting at a federal level. We want to be able to fight where we have the most authority.
Yeah. Which is also, again, back to the hopefully the destruction, abolition, I don't know what the right word is, of the Department of Education.
That's where I was going with this.
Yeah. I mean, if we can get the Department of Education deleted,
this goes away.
Then at least a lot of it does. Yeah.
Yeah, because then
Title IX doesn't go away.
No. But if schools decide to stop taking money from the government and become self-sufficient because they teach a more superior form of education, everybody wants to go there.
Who cares if Biden or Trump's in office?
Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. And at very least, you bring it back to the states.
Yes.
And now states are responsible, and then they'll be testing.
Yeah.
And we're going to get ranked. And it's
exactly.
How's your state doing? Do your kids know how to read and write?
Yeah. We've created a manipulated market that then has to always be run from the top down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you kind of think about if you apply the trans mindset broadly to America, basically you're saying that America has a trans mindset, which would be a mindset of inconsistency, not applying standards correctly, not having definition of who man and woman is. Well, America has that broader problem, and which is why our government is so transed in its funding and how it does taxes and how it creates organizations and agencies and bureaucracies. I mean, we have all this kind of trans, broadly speaking, trans thinking in our government. I mean, government shouldn't even be funding public education.
Right.
The government, the USAID stuff that we're going to be talking about here. How much government funding is going to churches? A lot.
Right.
Not just USAID, a lot of
government funding.
Hundreds, I think I just looked kind of broadly speaking at how much government funding was going to churches and religious organizations. And it was like $500 billion, I think is what it was right now. And that,
total government, federal government funding going to churches
and religious organizations.
Yeah.
You don't know for what, huh?
No, I just, you got to dig into each one.
I've seen it though.
It just occurs to me. It's and we're talking about, school choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving
the government more powers. Really,
how
what I'm
about
talking about.
USAID?
Right.
For private schools.
Yeah.
How about, people who are no, it's completely different. No, you're David French.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
You're Russell Moore.
Yeah.
They're trying to Russell Moore private education.
Yeah.
They're trying to Russell. I mean, that's a new verb.
Russell Moore.
They're trying to Russell Moore homeschooling.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, we could go down the list of all these government funding mechanisms or these government authority that they should have no business being involved in.
Right.
And that's really at the heart and the foundation of all this.
Right. I'm trying to think of a way of explaining.
Yeah.
You're right. It's transing. What's the right analogy? It's like they're pretending to be
they're pretending to have authority that they should not have.
Well, it's like freedom. It's like they're trying to or rights. They're trying to provide those rights.
Yeah.
It's dressed up like freedom.
Yeah.
And it's
at least cross-dressing.
But it's like
our government's cross-dressing.
It's freedom.
Yeah.
It's liberty that got a mastectomy.
Yeah.
And it's dressed up like No, I don't know. I've worked this out.
It's Mr. Potato Head government or something. Yeah.
It's actually tyranny, though.
So,
It's actually perversion and tyranny that's actually being foisted upon us, and it's in the name of these handouts.
Yeah. So, the big story that's been going on this week is USAID funding and kind of the corruption in USAID funding.
Right.
USAID, USAID, Agency for International Development. That's what it stands for.
Agency
AID.
for International Development
was started. There was an act put in place called the Foreign Assistance Act in 1961. So Congress passes this act, and under that act, John F. Kennedy, in the name of that act, and this is how twisted executive orders have become, and under that act, John F. Kennedy, by the stroke of a pen, by the stroke of an executive order, created USAID.
Really?
Yes. So Congress,
JFK created USAID
in 1961 under that act that Congress voted in.
Right. So that would presumably be the defense of his executive order. There's this.
That's correct.
Congress has passed this law.
They told me to do this.
That says that we want to reach out to
Foreign Assistance Act.
Okay. So and what was the point of that act?
To assist foreign stuff.
To assist.
Well, now it's stuff.
Right.
No matter what it said then, it's now stuff. Now.
Okay. I'm just curious if you knew what it was for then. Yeah. I mean, that's 1960s. I don't know, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's Cold War. I don't know. Maybe there's still Cold War stuff going on. Are they trying to further?
I think the
democracy?
Intelligence agencies became more and more entrenched in our U.S. life, in our U.S. Foreign defense.
Well, the way that the Democrats are talking about it, at least to your point, which is, how is the rest of the world going to be invited into the world to soften their hearts towards America if they don't see development coming from America? So it's kind of like, look, we're good. Here, take some clothes. Here, take some. And I think it's part of developing a relationship, the way the Democrats are talking about it, which is what they're concerned about. How is the rest of the world going to look at us now that all their aid is gone, which we were building over there in their countries and helping them out and building villages? So now they look favorable to America.
Right.
And now we're taking that away.
So here's what Bank dug into that real quick. He said it is created for humanitarian aid, countering communism, agricultural assistance, and economic development.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's like democracy is good.
Yeah.
Here's assistance. And so they didn't maybe feel they weren't so vulnerable to the promises and offers of communism.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's how USAID was started, by stroke of a pen, executive order. And then it grew. Now, I think last year our staff was saying something like it's a $44 billion agency. And largely, it seems like what the agency's job is to do is to give money to NGO organizations, non-government organizations. I'm sure they're doing more than that. But so they're giving out money to NGOs. And come to find out, now it's giving money not just to foreign NGOs, but all this American stuff.
Right.
All this money from USAID, which is apparently supposed to be some sort of foreign organization that's supposed to help foreigners or foreign states or foreign nations, is now funding stuff here in America.
And it's just money laundering is what it is.
So we're being treated as foreigners in our own country.
Yeah.
Because we need to be bought. We need
so
to be conditioned.
I almost named this show USAID Buy, Sell, and Trade.
Yeah.
They buy you, they sell you, and then they'll trade you like slaves.
So in order to be able to sell what it is that they want to sell about this new America or this new dream or universal, what do you call it? The new globalist idea. What do they call it? The New World Order.
Yeah.
Well, they then start educating you towards that.
They're educating foreigners.
Yeah, and Americans.
But now they're educating Americans. But USAID, though, is closely connected with the CIA.
Yes.
So,
which is why I go to the money laundering side.
Hang on real quick before we get there.
Okay.
USAID, here's my intuition or whatever, is let me make sure my producer is telling me about something about the screen here. But USAID, I think, has become, whether it's created, whatever, it at least has become an organization to fund American interest in foreign nations and to manipulate elections, democracy. And it's
the CIA, how they work in other nations.
Which is how I think they're connected. Now publicly, in some sort of agency, the USA doesn't report to the CIA.
Where's Alex Jones at?
But
somebody get Alex Jones in here. Alex!
But I believe the CIA is absolutely using USAID money to fund foreign.
They cooperate. The best I was looking it up, and it's like, it's the USAID is under the Secretary of State and Foreign Operations or Foreign Relations or whatever. But it's well known that the CIA and USAID cooperate on numerous projects. The question I want to know is so they're cooperating on foreign projects.
Yeah.
We got some concerns about, terrorist infiltration in this country. Yeah. Could you please bring some humanitarian aid in the name of democracy in order to prevent so much terrorism, taking out, radicalization. So I get that. Like, I'm still not like a huge fan of that.
Well, I know how to solve that problem.
But how do you solve that problem?
Well, if you give your people the money back that they have, and they pay their tithes to their churches because they have more money. Yeah. Now we have missionaries who go over to other nations.
And we're way better at making peace.
Yeah. And we're way better at converting people's hearts than the government is.
Right. That's exactly right.
And then what you get now is a world populated with Jesus and the gospel that now all of a sudden has a Christian humanism to it.
Instead of some vague notion of democracy.
And now you get a world with peace.
Right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But my question is how much is USAID and CIA cooperating to condition Americans?
Oh yes.
How much is CIA conditioning Americans?
Well, we don't even know how much yet.
Well, let me
enough.
Let me get into this.
I mean,
so the two areas where I immediately got concerned seeing some of the money and funding and data coming out was one, journalism funding,
fourth estate,
and number two, the church.
Okay,
which is
virtue. One of the virtue. And in America, Politico was getting significant funding from USAID.
It's like 8.7, wasn't it?
Well, specifically, USAID paid $500,000 plus for 37 subscribers.
What?
Yeah.
Those subscriptions are a little rich.
I take it back. What
do you take back?
That was for
this might have been a good idea.
This is from
how we get that 517,000 again.
The awarding agency.
I'm joking.
Look, the awarding agency was Department of Health and Human Services.
Department of Health and Human Services? Yeah. Department of Health and Human Services?
With this money
is getting subscriptions to Politico.
$500,000 worth of subscriptions, and it was only 37 subscriptions. And it came out, that comes out to about $14,000 a subscription. I got you, Toby. I got you. That's what I was going.
I'm just going to do the math.
$14,000 a subscription. This is 1 year funding. This is not like a 10 years. Some of the data you'll see is to be like over the course of USAID funding or over the course of HHS, whatever. It would be 10 years. You'd get this. This is 1 year funding.
Somebody better get Elon more security.
Oh, yeah. Right? I don't know how Trump makes out these next 4 years if he keeps doing this.
Wow.
I don't know how he does. So $14,000 of subscription. This is Politico. Remember,
I think that's what we call.
Listen to this, Toby.
Corruption.
Politico leaked the Dobbs case. You remember that? You remember the Dobbs case? The Supreme Court already decided on it, but a month and a half, 2 months before, Politico leaked the Dobbs case.
Complete coincidence.
Well, they had to leak it from somewhere, though.
Right. Yeah. But when you own Politico.
Yeah. But this isn't the only subscription stuff that Politico got.
Nuts.
I think Politico got something like $8 million over all this.
That is nuts.
The AP Wire got money, millions of dollars. AP Wire. Yeah, it's the news outlet that everyone taps into.
Yeah, sort of the standard.
Yeah.
Have they got how much?
I think it was $8 million-ish dollars. I think you'd have to correct me on. You'd have to maybe correct me on that.
Wow.
The BBC. This is hilarious.
BBC.
The BBC released a statement, I think, yesterday.
Well,
I screenshot it.
I mean, they're full-blown Muslim now, right?
Yeah, seriously. But here's BBC's explanation. So everyone rips BBC a new one because they got, how much money? I don't have it in my notes. I should have.
We got producers for that.
All right, you guys can put it in there. But here's what they said. Listen to this. So they released the statements on their website. It took me a while to get there because the website was turning so hard to get me.
Yeah, right.
They're probably
you and everyone else. You want me to read it?
Yeah, you read it.
A free press is essential to freedom and democracy, and 75% of countries around the world do not have a free press. BBC Media Action supports local media around the world to deliver trusted information to people most in need. Like many international development organizations, BBC Media Action has been affected by the temporary pause in U.S. government funding, which amounts to about 8% of our income in 23 to 24. We're doing everything we can to minimize the impact on our partners and the people we serve. As BBC's international charity, we are completely separate from BBC News and wholly reliant on our donors and supporters to carry out our work.
What's the website address of this? It's bbc.com.
Right.
Yeah. And so BBC, what they're arguing is saying, hey, our charitable organization gets all this money from the U.S. government. Apparently 8% of their budget comes from us.
Right.
And the BBC is like, yeah, we don't do anything with that money. It's not ours. It's the charity.
Right.
Come on.
Was it 3.2 million? 3.2 million from USAID? From USAID? For BBC. So
I think it's actually end up being more than that too. I think there's a lot more money than that going to BBC. But
how much was it?
3.2 billion. 2 million. Sorry.
3.2 million.
Yeah, with an M.
Well,
okay. So you keep peeling the layer further on this whole journalist thing. So I'm just giving you a couple examples. BBC and Politico, a couple examples.
Right.
You peel that layer further, and apparently USAID had actually been funding about 6,200 journalists worldwide.
6,200 journalists.
WikiLeaks started digging into this.
No wonder why they hate X.
Yeah. That's
no
right.
wonder
That's
why
exactly
they
right.
hate X.
Right.
So WikiLeaks gets involved in this.
707 media outlets and 279 media NGOs, including 9 out of 10 media outlets in Ukraine. Right.
Oh, boy.
Tell people the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
So this is a big part.
Right.
This is our propaganda machine.
Yeah. In America, I mean, how much government money, you got NPR, obviously, but how much government money is going to ABC, CBS? I mean, this onion is just getting peeled.
Hold on. I just...
The government takes everything we make.
Exactly.
They're power-hungry and malicious.
Power-hungry and malicious.
Economics are fictitious. Soon we'll have to eat our dishes.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just needed a break.
Yeah. So, to review, JFK and Congress, 1961.
Yeah, creates USAID.
USAID.
Yeah,
which is to be this like humanitarian arm to foreign relations in the Cold War.
Mm-hmm.
So it's meant to be a humanitarian arm to fighting communism.
Government charity to make other nations happy with us.
Right, but has morphed into this mass propaganda machine.
Yeah.
Hydra.
Yeah. And so obvious, I mean, again, like the perverse incentives here, if we need to like just spell this out, when you're getting checks from the government that works closely with the CIA, which can ruin your life if it wants to. The CIA that is, working in tandem with whoever the deep state people are. It's like you're gonna report in certain ways,
of course,
and if you're not reporting in the ways that they want you to report, you're gonna hear about that, and your funding is gonna be connected to that.
Yeah,
and this you do not. I mean, talk about free media.
Yeah,
back to BBC.
Yeah,
that's not free media.
Yeah,
when it is funded by the government, that is not a free that's not free media.
Our taxpayer money, and I'm just gonna say, little plug for Fight Laugh Feast. I mean, we're not $14,000 subscription. We're 10.
Maybe we need to bump it up a little bit. I don't know.
$100. So join the club.
Right. Yeah. I mean, seriously, man, a free media. I mean, back to your point about X and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's so huge.
Yes.
It's just people reporting. People just. But I think we do need privately funded organizations committed to the truth.
That's exactly
right.
Well,
look at Substack.
100%.
All the people that have been leaving the news organizations for one reason or another have jumped onto Substack, been writing substantive articles and doing good research, and they're getting paid better than they were at some of these other media institutions.
Right.
What's amazing to me about this is that while their propaganda machine has temporarily worked, it hasn't been able to truly sustain itself because we are the ones who have been given it the oxygen to live.
Right. Right.
Just think about that for a second.
Right.
If we just get right, and this is why some of the tax cuts from Trump are really important.
Right.
And doing what he's doing with USAID and probably a couple of other organizations as well.
Right.
is giving us the power back to ourselves again, and hopefully get to a freer market where truth wins out.
Yeah.
Free market economics wins out.
Yeah.
The fourth estate actually has a voice again and real authority.
Men and women.
Men, I mean, this is really big.
Women's sports.
This is really big. This is why I'm not trying to poo-poo on all the moment.
I know.
I am trying to say, though, in this moment, while this is happening, secure as much authority as you possibly can where you are, so that you then have the ability to do this where you're at.
Right.
Trump's trying to make gravity great again.
Right.
Yes.
Like that's really what's going on.
Absolutely.
Now he's also ignoring gravity when it comes to religion.
Right.
But
he doesn't know better.
Christianity, he doesn't know better.
Right.
But he's basically trying to make the rules of gravity like, hey, we're living in this kind of world.
Yeah, that's right. The irony again is really deep that it was this USAID was created to combat communism.
Yeah.
And it's become communism.
That's so true.
That's what happens when you do things that you're not supposed to be doing.
It's the government doing what it's not supposed to do. It is not in charge of it. Now, JFK could have gotten on his bully pulpit and said, charitable organizations, churches, send your missionaries.
Yes.
Go. This is an area that needs outreach. Humanitarian NGOs, private companies, go do outreach there.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
He could praise righteousness. He could encourage righteousness.
That's right.
But in the name of fighting communism, embraced communism.
You know how you destroy communism?
That's right.
With a free market. You know how you get a free market with free man.
Right. Right.
Free man create free market.
Yeah, I know.
And destroys communism. That's how you win. Like exactly what you're saying.
That means it cannot be funded by the government.
That's right.
If it is funded by the government, you have embraced a form of communism.
Yeah.
You're causing the commune to fund this.
Yeah.
You're embracing it.
Well, and then here's where it really hits close to home is the church. So I went in, there's a database called datarepublican.com, I think is what it is, or datarepublican.org, and went into that database and just not just looking at USAID funding, just kind of looking at all funding. And it looks like to me the government is giving about $500 billion to churches and related religious organizations.
500 billion.
And then people doing their research thing came out that Christianity Today received about 1.8 million direct from USAID and about $9 million from the government over the course of, I think, like the last 10 years or something like that.
Wow.
So USAID apparently somehow some relationship. This our producers looked this up. Got about 1.8 million from USAID, then pardon me,
who did?
Christianity Today.
Christianity Today.
Yeah, got about 1.8 million from USAID. And then apparently they got something like a total of $9 million from the government.
And I've seen something about this where it's like it wasn't directly from them; it was put through other companies. And
USAID pays this nonprofit.
It's a washing machine.
And this is
money laundering.
This is how French's and Russell Moore's curriculum got funded. Yeah. It was all through liberal think tanks and leftist organizations. And I think some of the USAID money went through that to get to them too.
And this is Meg Basham's whole thing. Shepherd's for Sale. If you've not read it yet, you need to read it.
Yes.
But like that was her whole, like she's tracing some of this
Vindicated.
money out.
And Troy's point was that she just scratched the surface and look.
Right.
So we got Christianity, bring that slide up. I think we got a slide Christianity Today. We got Christianity Today apparently making money off our government.
Yeah.
But the bigger point, this is just an example so you can see, other
total contributions 9.6 million.
Yeah.
And government grants of 1.6. Other cash contributions, what's that?
1.8. Other cash contributions.
That'd be just other sources.
Yeah, other sources. 1.98 million. Megan Basham went into their 990 form and verified the 1.8 million.
Okay.
So you can go in their 190 form, 990.
So
Thank you, Megan.
1.8 million. And so percent of contributions taxpayers are funding of Christianity Today is
20%.
Almost 20%. Yeah.
But here's the point. Just give me one example is and I've been actually kind of a weird thing is watching my former Christian friends, and maybe some of them still claim the name of Christ and went to high school with them, stuff like that, defend USAID and saying, oh, you're taking away funding from USAID, who's funding missionary work in Afghanistan.
No, I'm Christians are totally. There have been some Christians coming and
defending this.
Yes,
and I'm like, first of all, okay, so you're for church and state now. You're against separation of church and state now.
Right.
All of a sudden, that's weird. Secondly, there's no constitutional mandate for the government to fund church missions.
Right.
Zero.
Right.
Zero.
So
we got a constitution. We need to live by it. And then lastly, the church. What is the church doing? My voice is bad, but what is the church doing? Taking money from the government to do their job.
Right.
We've been doing that for a long time, though. So,
well, families have for their public schools.
Well, I'm just mean churches, but they've done it in very clever ways. So if you're if you're in an inner city,
urban ministry,
you got a church that's going on there.
Right.
A lot of places, a lot of times, people will have all sorts of different grant monies that they put aside to help churches get started. And what they'll do is they'll put, like, they did this back in the day. So this has been doing for a long time. I mean, in the 90s, churches would be little small churches with one pastor who's bivocational. And then they would have to start like a computer lab downstairs, and government would give them money to have a computer lab to help educate kids to learn how to work on computers.
Right.
And then they would have other events for training and for whatever, like schools. And so then the church would basically be funded by government funds, not by tithe money.
Right.
Right. And so the churches would grow or have some form of success because of that. And so that's been going on for this is not just now happening.
Right.
They've been doing this for a long time in one way or another. Now they're just finally pulling on the hook.
Right.
Well, you remember, wasn't the Lutheran Church in Missouri sued because, or maybe it's Minneapolis or Minnesota, sued because the state wouldn't give them certain funding that were kind of for, like, NGOs, basically a state level thing. The Lutheran Church wasn't getting some funding from the state that apparently they had some sort of access to, and the state said, no, you're religious.
Right.
And so the Lutheran Church sued and won to be able to get access to that state money.
Right. And it's so again, it's like if the money is coming through the government, then we're talking about Marxism.
And you can't serve two masters.
Right.
You're talking about God as a master and the state now is a master.
Right. No, it's you're right. It's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, we've been.
And what happened though is the chickens came home to roost under Biden. I would say it's like been the most.
Well, COVID first. That exposed a lot. That exposed a lot.
COVID and COVID and Biden.
Yeah.
And it's like, and while they didn't necessarily pull all the chains, they tried to. They got right up to the edge of it, and maybe knew they couldn't pull all the chains, but they were trying. In the name of health, you can't go to church. In the name of health, you can't worship. In the name of health, you can't sing. And then under Biden, with all the tranny stuff and the hardcore LGBT stuff, I mean, they were coming right up into it, saying, you're taking this funding, you need to let the boys in the girls' locker rooms.
You're right.
And you better believe that if it hadn't been checked, if God hadn't been merciful, the next steps are going to be, look, this Christian school takes some funding.
Right.
You better let that boy in the girls' bathroom. Right.
Yeah.
It's a Christian school.
Yeah.
Yes, but you take government funding.
Yeah.
Right.
Our friends up in Canada already got kicked out for trying to get trainees out of their high schools.
Exactly. Like I'm just like the point being, it's like we're seeing a reprieve right now, and Trump's reversing a bunch of these decisions. And again, thank God for it.
Yeah.
I pray that it creates a bunch of momentum for people to settle these things and build fortresses of sanity.
Yeah.
But you got to recognize that if you keep all of this power in the government, which thankfully again Trump is unloading a bunch of it.
Say it now.
But if you don't get this divorced from the government, if you don't get this completely unhooked from the government, it could come right back.
That's right.
Even for a little while, it's funding good stuff. I mean, probably for 20, 30, 40 years, it was funding, quote unquote, fine stuff, good stuff.
Sure.
Neutral stuff, computer labs. Okay, whatever. Like, who cares in a sense? But the reason why we ought to care is because we know that if the government funds that, then eventually they're going to be like, and it's fine for them to look at porn. I mean, why are we having to pass laws to, like, public libraries can't have porn?
Yeah.
Well, because there's this LGBT agenda. Why are public schools? What was that one school? The school bus driver. We had the guy interviewed in Idaho.
Sam in Idaho.
He was like, let's get the porn out of here. And it's like these,
and he got fired.
It's like how to have perverse sex books in the public school library and being defended by Christians in this small Idaho town.
The Christians were defending the school against him.
Yes, I know. He got fired. And my point is, like, how do you get there? Well, the reason you get there is because it's all government funded.
Yeah.
And if you don't divorce yourself from the government in that way, and that funding, when it comes to education and health and sports and sexuality and all these things, the government can tell you what it is.
But this goes back to the trans thing.
Yes.
The government should not be involved in education. The government should not be involved in foreign missions. And
churches.
So what's the government's job? The government's job is to bring justice and punish the wicked.
Yeah, and have equal weights and measures.
So what happens is when the government's job is to punish evildoers, punish its people for sin, for violating laws.
Yeah.
What happens when that money starts coming to you? It looks nice in the beginning,
right,
but they're gonna turn around and be violent towards you.
Right.
This is what we saw in COVID.
Right.
Like people were getting arrested, all this stuff's happening.
Right. Yeah.
Gym owners are getting thrown out of their buildings. The violence is going to come.
Right.
And if the ministry, the job of the church is to do missionary work and all that stuff.
Right.
And what's going to come with that? It's peace. It's gospel.
Right.
And so when you start transing an organization, then you take that money and funnel money through that organization, it's going to go back to its core missions at some point.
Right.
It might buy you for a little bit, might get you a bunch of money, but violence is going to come behind government money, and the peace and the gospel is going to come behind the church.
Well, it's interesting. We were talking to Jacob Tanner yesterday.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he said,
John Knox.
Yeah. One of the things he said, he's like, what happens with the education system, especially since the government's primarily leading that, they have been trained for years to believe that everything the government does is good. Right. And one way to think,
because the government is funding it.
Right.
They
So
have have a reason to teach that. Like,
Exactly.
Your government is good. Your government is looking out for your good.
Exactly. So then when churches are taking this money and they're being, it's discipling you.
Right.
It's teaching you a particular.
Right.
This is why free market enterprise is so important. Private companies are so important because part of the duty that God, one of the things that the blessing that comes from a business is that they're discipling people too.
Right.
They're discipling them that when you do hard work and when you do your job and we become successful because of that, you are blessed.
Right.
And I reward you with that. And so the harder you work, the more blessings that come. And there's discipleship with that. And so that's free market and businesses disciple people to think a particular type of way. It frames the world for them.
Right.
When the government gets to give the money and there isn't anything that's hard work given to develop that, it shapes the mind in a particular type of way.
Right.
And so then imagine then for the last 40 years or longer, how much the government has shaped the mind of the American people since the 70s.
Right. Right.
This is part of our problem.
Since the 70s.
No,
at least since the 70s.
Exactly.
It goes back
I'm
further
just
than
thinking
that,
about
but-
the development of USAID.
Just at least with USAID. But you're absolutely right. There's free men make free markets.
That's right.
But the other way around is also true. Free markets are part of the way that God crafts free men.
That's right.
Um,
Praise God. Yeah, that's right.
Fundamentally, it's the gospel that frees men.
Yeah.
That's right.
But those free men then create free markets, and those free markets disciple men.
That's right.
To live and think like free men, rather than being. And freedom here is not just doing whatever. It's not libertarian freedom. Freedom is the freedom to take responsibility and authority over those things that God has entrusted to you. That's your freedom. It is responsibility and authority. And it's married to virtue.
That's
married
right.
to what is good and right and beautiful. But when you're dependent on the government, when you're dependent on other organizations who their job is not to provide for you, what that does is it creates in you a spirit of dependency and irresponsibility and abdication, and you lose authority. And so that's why you get in these situations where the government comes in and says, all right, close down the church.
Yep.
And if you're getting your money from the government,
it's shaped you.
And you're like, well, we better trust, but we don't want to rock the boat too much because they give us the money. They give us the money.
A lot of us right now don't want to hear this because we're winning, and I'm happy for it. I'm taking all the wins.
Yeah.
But we need to win and celebrate it and still have our eye over there every time. Good job, man. I love what you're doing. What you doing next?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm watching. Yeah. We have to be diligent because for us, we know that it doesn't take much for the pendulum to swing the other way.
Right. That's right.
Right. We have to be diligent
think
to do
how
that.
fast it swung.
Yeah.
If it swung this fast, it can swing back.
Right now,
just as fast.
Now maybe we don't have time for this, but I just want to throw it out there. There was a clip earlier with Kamala, and you made a crazy face, and then we said, okay, we'll do that on the show.
Yeah,
and I was like, what's that face?
So there's a lot going on with, I think, who was it? 60 Minutes. What's the company? Can't remember the parent company right now. But
USAID.
So the American people own 60 Minutes. And so there was a clip back in the day during the election, back in the day, feels like forever now,
Yeah.
that they edited out, but they put out the original version accidentally. And then it seems like the Harris campaign came back to them, was it CBS, and said, hey guys, we need a different edit to make Kamala look good. At the time I watched it, there wasn't enough to be able to know exactly what had happened.
Okay.
But they've released the whole video. It's about an hour long and it's really bad. I told our producer to go through the video and he didn't know how to edit the video because it was so convoluted.
Okay.
Like it was so convoluted. Like
the whole 60 minutes.
The whole 60 minutes, she never really gave. Is that right? Like DJ was that right? She never really gave an articulate answer about anything.
Okay.
And I'm trying to make it work in my head. I couldn't.
Oh my goodness.
But they grabbed a particular clip to kind of show this is how much they edited. So I'm going to play the clip and explain kind of everything else afterwards. So let's play the clip real quick.
Madam Vice President, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Good to be with you.
So that was the end.
Just a little bit of a question, please, so I can get it over the shoulder shot.
Yeah.
Okay, hit pause.
So this is the end. They're done interviewing her.
So they just finished the interview.
Okay.
And then
they don't start off with the ceiling check at the beginning?
Huh?
The noise check at the beginning, because that's where
no. So so here's what happened. They finished the interview. They know that they need to doctor this up. And they know they need elements to be able to make it work. And what they need is a lead in so they can have a clean cut to make the rest of her answer work together. They know they don't have it. This is what the directors do. They know this. Producers know this.
Okay.
So now they go back and they say, okay, you're gonna hear him tell him, I need you to start over again and give me your question because I need a clean way to get into this. And now let's pick it up.
You need me talking?
Yes, sir.
Well, we were talking about how you're going to pay for it, and I mean, I truly do mean it. Your plans are logical, make logical sense.
Mm-hmm.
The way Washington works is not logical. So how are you going to convince a divided Congress that what you say, your plans, are something that they should all agree to and provide to the American people when they've shown no inclination to do that up to this point?
Is that what you needed?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. 30 seconds of silence, please, for room time.
Okay, hit pause. So she asked, is that what you needed? So, is that what you needed to make it work so that I look good? So you have your insert now. Yeah. And so now I'm going to cut to whatever answer that I want to put in place there to make it sound good.
Wow.
Okay. So that's what they just did. That's what they just recorded. I needed the top. They usually call the top. Yeah. So it's usually called the top. And so now they hold for room tone to get room tone. Sometimes they'll get room tone later because the room will change when you have more people in there. Okay. Room tone allows you to put a sound underneath where you can't tell that an edit is being made because it still sounds the same. You use room tone in movies all the time. So when you get in post, you hear the room tone, you can put that underneath. So when you're cutting, because the sound will change between.
Yeah, and you don't want people to feel that.
You don't want them to feel that. You want to feel consistent all the way through, right? So now they're getting the room tone. All right, hit play. Now wait. Hold on. I gotta say this. Notice his demeanor, his attitude, his build, his statue, the way he even phrases everything.
Yeah.
When action was given.
Okay.
Room tone is now started, so he's done. Hit play.
Cameras are off.
How will you?
It's going to be taxes. It's going to be literally the economists. I mean, they're from each spectrum.
But I hear what you're saying about the economists. This is true.
Yeah.
But Congress is not the economists.
I know, but.
Okay.
First of all, cameras were off.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
Cameras are off.
He said cameras are off.
Yeah.
That means they're done.
Right.
Notice his posture change.
Yeah.
Notice how he actually starts doing the interview now.
Yeah.
Now the interview starts.
How are you actually going to pay for this?
And
how are you going to do this?
The job that he has to you, the listener, and as a journalist, is to be this guy when he started from the beginning.
That's right. That's exactly.
That's what he was. This is who he was supposed to be when the cameras were rolling, not when they go off.
Right.
And instead, he decides to get his own answers without giving them to you.
Right.
And keeps them, and they edited together something completely different than what actually happened.
Right.
It was transed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so
wow.
This
so when media is in bed with government, you get this bastardization of news.
Yeah.
And that's right. That's right. And it hit me when we were talking to Troy Miller the other day. he said, as much as tech has been a driver in the change of media and the forum and free speech and news, it hasn't been the main driver as much as integrity. Integrity has been the main thing why people have. If the mainstream news had the same integrity as Joe Rogan had,
yes,
as other podcasters have had,
meaning we care about the truth,
and they would have put this interview out, they would have had all of the attention,
right?
But because they choose not to tell the truth,
taken courage,
and maybe not being in the pockets of
the government, USAID. Didn't Bank make a video for us that we were going to play? Do we not want to play that?
No, we can play it. It was just talking about USAID.
Yeah. But it's just another example.
This just keeps going.
So this is like the director of USAID here,
right?
And but Bank kind of weaved in some stuff.
I know.
Well, you can imagine when you suddenly in your inbox find a termination notice,
$47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia,
or a leave of absence notice that you didn't expect to get,
$32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru,
on a flawed predicate that you're doing radical leftist insubordination.
Sesame Street in Afghanistan.
20 million.
20 million.
It's pretty jarring.
$1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces.
And because there's so many lies and falsehoods circulating, and so many claims that people are sort of not with the program.
$70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland.
And then, of course, most of them have been laid off, so they're worried about how they're going to pay the bills and how they're going to make rent.
POLITICO. 8.2 million.
One of the things you're tempted to do when you watch that, and this is where we got to have a transformation of the way we think, is, man, we could have spent that money so many other places than those. That's the wrong thinking.
Yeah.
That's the wrong thinking. The question is, what could you have done with your money had you had it?
That's right. Right.
But,
and the thing is that's the harder work.
Yes.
That's the harder work. It's like it's the mentality of freedom. And again, you think about the slaves in Egypt, and it's like they get out and they're free, and they're like, but the food was better. Like when we did not belong to ourselves.
Yeah,
the food was better.
Right.
And it's like, because the hard work is, when you're actually free, you got to make your own food.
That's right.
When you're actually free, you have to plant, and you have to cultivate, and you have to harvest. You have to do that hard work. And so it's like, what could this money have been spent on? Well, okay, so like if Egypt was more conservative, right? But it's like, what if you got out of Egypt?
Right.
What if you actually got free? Then the money is yours, and what would you do with it?
That's right.
But that would be a lot harder.
Yeah.
But that hard work, that responsibility, that authority over what God has given you, that's real freedom.
I trust that money in the American citizens' hands far better and far more than I trust it in the government's hands. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
You sit in church week after week, embracing the truth of God's word. You believe the gospel and claim Jesus Christ as your Lord. Yet you continue to struggle with pornography. You feel like a hypocrite, returning to the sin you hate that mocks the God you love. You desperately wonder, is lasting freedom even possible? Yes, you can overcome pornography, but not alone. 2 Timothy 2:22 says, "Now flee from youthful lusts, and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart." Only by repeatedly running from sin to Christ with other believers can you hope to enjoy lasting freedom. You can live with purity and integrity. Take courage, seek accountability, and do whatever is necessary.